The air shimmered with heat over the smoking battlefield of New Thessalonica. Burnt ozone, scorched metal, and the acrid stench of blood choked the wind. Trenches crumbled. Plasma turrets sparked uselessly. Shattered armor suits, once worn by the proudest of the galactic vanguard, lay half-submerged in pools of mud and molten slag. General Vec Rill, a six-limbed strategist of the Ulari Dominion, stood at the edge of the crater, his secondary hearts pounding. His eyes, evolved to track the flight of plasma rounds at high speed, followed the massive shadow descending from the clouds. The drop pod slammed into the earth like a meteor. Debris shot out in all directions, cratering the already ravaged landscape. When the dust cleared, it stood there, KRZUL. It wasn't a machine. Not exactly. The beast was a biomechanical hybrid, grown in orbital vats, fused with dark matter alloy, and guided by tactical AI so advanced it bordered on sentience. 20 meters tall, its silhouette was jagged and monstrous, a war god made flesh. 10 crimson eyes glowed across its armored face. Forearms crackled with energy fields strong enough to shear through a dreadnought's hull. Vec Rill activated his comms. Defensive pattern Orion 4. All forces hold the line. The command came too late. The beast moved. A single sweep of its arm disintegrated the forward bunkers. Energy shields collapsed under its barrage. Where the coalition's best weaponry tried to hold firm, the beast simply walked through it. A tank battalion charged with magnetic cannons. It tore them in half like toys. Mechs fired high-yield missiles. The beast absorbed them, then responded with a gravity pulse that flattened everything within a 100-meter radius. "By the gods," whispered Colonel Jax of the Corellian Guard, her voice barely audible over the screams and static. "It was made to fight armies." "No," Vec Rill said coldly, his mandibles trembling. "It was made to destroy them." Satellite feeds showed devastation across 3 fronts. The coalition had mustered 4,000 troops, 20 armored divisions, and a dozen orbital strike ships. In less than an hour, half of that force had been reduced to ash. From a secure war chamber deep beneath the surface, strategist Kale of the Cyrex Conclave monitored the battle with glowing cybernetic eyes. "Withdraw the remaining units," Kale ordered. "We can't stop it." Vec Rill's voice came back on the line. "Where are we retreating to? The beast will breach this world's core in days. Nothing we have." Kale cut him off. "We have one asset remaining. The Terran." The silence that followed was heavy. "You can't be serious," Vec Rill finally said. "He's unstable. Uncontrolled." Kale responded flatly. "So is the beast." Deep below the battlefield, in a prison beneath the coalition base, a red light pulsed. Security fields shimmered around a containment chamber. Inside it sat a man. He was silent, barefoot, shirtless. His skin was laced with faint metallic lines, like cracks in ceramic. His hands were cuffed in dampeners that pulsed with enough charge to stun a war beast. His eyes, gray, weathered, and oddly calm, stared at the concrete floor as if waiting for the moment he would be needed. His name was Captain Elias Rourke. Once a soldier, once a hero, now a last resort. A pair of guards approached the cell. One of them, a young alien with bright purple scales, hesitated as the force field dropped. "I thought you weren't real," the guard muttered. "They say you tore through an entire enemy platoon with just your fists." Elias slowly looked up. His voice was hoarse but steady. "No, that was only half of them." The guards unlocked the cuffs. Rourke rolled his shoulders, flexing hands that had once shattered bones, armor, and reputations alike. He walked past them, barefoot on the cold metal floor, toward the elevator that would take him up. Above, the beast screamed, an ear-piercing mechanical wail that echoed for miles. Below, the human whispered, "Time to kill a monster." The elevator ride up was long, silent, lit only by a single red emergency strip across the ceiling, casting shadows that danced across Elias Rourke's scarred torso. He stared straight ahead, not flinching as the platform shuddered and vibrated with distant artillery strikes. He was going back to war. Again. Waiting for him at the surface was General Vec Rill. His normally upright posture was hunched with tension, mandibles twitching with restrained anxiety. Behind him, Cyrex strategist Kale floated silently, neural ports glowing like twin embers along the sides of her elongated skull. "You're late," Elias said as he stepped off the platform. Kale's voice was clinical. "You are only to be activated in the event of strategic collapse. We are now in that state. You should have called me yesterday." Vekril's eyes narrowed. "Let's make one thing clear, human. You're not a savior. You are a tool." Elias tilted his head, amused. "Then point me at the problem and let me work." Kale gestured toward the north, where the sky burned. "KRZUL is moving toward the central command spire. If it breaches that structure, orbital command collapses. We lose planetary coordination. I take it you tried everything else first?" Elias asked. Kale nodded. "Orbital strikes, quantum destabilizers, drones, full mechanized infantry. It adapted, rebuilt, upgraded mid-battle. Nothing worked." Elias looked at the tablet Kale handed him. A brief, tactical readout of the beast. Heat signatures, material density, combat patterns. He scanned it all in seconds. "You sent machines to fight something built to kill machines," he said. "Big mistake." Kale folded her arms. "And you? You're different." Rourke smiled faintly. "I'm not a machine." They suited him up in silence. Not in armor. No exoskeleton. Just reinforced polymer gauntlets lined with graphene flex plates. Lightweight, made for speed and impact absorption. A utility belt with 2 protein injectors. And a pair of carbon fiber boots with shock-dampening soles. That was it. "Where's the rest?" one alien technician asked. "This is the rest," another whispered, awe creeping into his voice. "He doesn't wear armor. He is the armor." Elias walked through the forward line, past wounded soldiers being dragged out of craters and emergency bunkers. Many of them stared confused. A few recognized him. One whispered, "That's the one from KLV Massacre." The only one who walked away. He reached the final perimeter, where the ground had been glassed by plasma bombardments. The beast was there, standing tall among the burning husks of tanks and shattered gunships. Its metal sinews rippled like muscle, each movement smooth and horrifyingly fluid. The air warped around it from the heat of its core. KRZUL had paused, waiting, scanning. It saw him. Rourke stepped forward. 10,000 combat simulations predicted his death within 60 seconds. Elias never cared much for simulations. The first attack came fast. A high-frequency pulse wave designed to liquefy organs. Elias ducked under it, sprinting forward, closing the distance in seconds. The beast responded with a flurry of blows. 2 mechanical arms swung like wrecking balls, cracking the earth. Elias dodged, weaved, and moved. Not like a soldier, like a predator. He leapt off a broken piece of hull plating, launched himself toward the beast's knee, and slammed both fists into a joint seam. A burst of metal and coolant exploded outward. The beast staggered, not damaged but surprised. Its head rotated, now focused. It recognized the threat. Elias landed, rolled, sprang back. His muscles burned. His pulse thundered in his ears. The nanites in his bloodstream lit up, compensating, repairing, strengthening. The beast adapted. Its armor shifted, forming spines, energy nodes, and new limbs. It dropped on all fours and launched. The battlefield erupted. For every blow Elias landed, the beast struck back harder. A tendril pierced his side. A shockwave knocked him across a field of broken glass. He bled. He groaned. He spat out blood and kept moving. Because that's what he did. The aliens watching from the command tower saw the impossible. A lone human trading blows with a walking apocalypse and holding his own. Not winning. Not yet. But fighting. And surviving. Kale leaned toward Vekril, her voice a whisper of disbelief. How is he still standing? Vekril stared at the monitors, watching the human charge once more. Because we designed the beast to destroy logic, he said. But the human was forged in pain. The ground trembled with each impact. Elias Rourke vaulted over shattered tank hulls and broken terrain, sweat and blood streaking his skin. Behind him, the beast roared, a deep, warping sound that cracked stone and rattled bones. Every strike from its titanic limbs was a death sentence. Yet none had found their mark. Not yet. He didn't run from it. He circled it, studied it. Every time it adapted, he adjusted. Every time it tried something new, he countered. Not through processing speed or code updates, through instinct, through experience, through pain. The beast wasn't just muscle and metal. It was intelligence, cold, logical, and merciless. It learned, reconfigured, anticipated. But Elias wasn't logical. He was chaos wrapped in human flesh. He was the thing no war algorithm could model. The stubborn refusal to die when death made the most sense. A limb came down, massive, clawed, glowing with plasma discharge. Elias slid under it, grabbed a fractured piece of composite plating from the wreckage, and jammed it into the beast's elbow joint. A shriek echoed through the canyon. Metal tore. It turned faster than anything that size had a right to move. One of its many arms swept across the field like a scythe. Elias wasn't fast enough. The hit caught him square in the ribs, flinging him through the air like a rag doll. He crashed through a concrete barrier, skidded across the charred ground, and lay still. In the command tower, strategist Kale's face tightened. Vitals dropping. "Should we pull him?" asked the technician. "No," Veckril growled. "He's not done." Rourke coughed, spat blood, and forced himself to sit up. His side was a mess, bones cracked, skin flayed. His fingers twitched numb. The nanites in his bloodstream worked overtime, sealing ruptures, numbing pain, accelerating clotting. He blinked through the blur, finding the beast stalking forward, unhurried. It knew he was weakening, knew it had the upper hand. "Arrogant," Elias muttered, dragging himself to his feet. He staggered toward a down mech. Its fusion core had ruptured, but its armor, its shoulder plating, was intact. He ripped a slab free, fashioned a makeshift shield out of it. The metal groaned in protest, but it would hold. For one more strike. Maybe two. As the beast loomed over him, Elias didn't run. He charged. The two collided like gods at war. The beast lashed out. Rourke blocked with the slab, countered with a crushing blow to its torso. Sparks exploded. The slab bent, cracked. The beast punched downward. Elias rolled aside, drove his elbow into a weak seam behind the knee joint, then vaulted upward, scrambling onto its back. "Let's see what you're hiding," he growled. With bare hands and bloodied fingers, he ripped open a panel, exposing the pulsating core of a neurosymbiotic processor. Wires twitched like veins. A defense drone deployed from the beast's shoulder. Elias caught it midair and smashed it into the open panel, sending a pulse of energy arcing through its systems. The beast spasmed. Elias held tight, his muscles screaming. His broken ribs ground together as he crawled along the machine's spine, looking for one thing: the power relay cluster. There, a fist-sized node, glowing faintly blue. He didn't hesitate. He drove his fist into it. The resulting surge blasted him backward. The beast stumbled, systems glitching, legs twitching as if uncertain where the ground was. Elias hit the ground hard. Couldn't move for a few seconds. But when he looked up, the beast had stopped moving. Smoke poured from its back. Its stance wavered. Limbs jerked erratically. Then it screamed. Not mechanically, angrily. It reconfigured again, plates shifting, damage sealing, spines growing longer, sharper. A final form. Elias groaned, wiped blood from his mouth, and pushed himself upright. No weapons left. No tricks. Just a man. He faced the charging titan alone. In the tower, Kale stared in silence. Veckril whispered, "He can't win. Not like this." Kale watched as the human, bleeding, broken, barehanded, ran at the monster as if he had nothing left to lose. And maybe that was why he hadn't lost yet. "He's not trying to win," she said softly. "He's trying to end it." The final charge was silent. No war cries. No grand music. Just the sound of scorched earth cracking beneath Elias Rourke's steps as he sprinted toward the beast. Flesh against machine, will against design. The sky burned overhead, a canvas of ash and fire. Orbital debris rained down like falling stars. Somewhere, miles away, coalition forces were retreating, trying to regroup. But here, on this blood-soaked plateau, it all came down to a single man. And a monster. The beast moved with renewed fury. Adaptive plates locked into place across its limbs. The plasma vents along its arms ignited, charging for a final, concentrated strike. Its processors had calculated every variable. The man had no weapon, no allies, minimal structural integrity. A guaranteed kill. But Elias didn't slow. He ducked under the beast's first strike, an energy slash that atomized the air in its path. He jumped onto a fallen pillar and launched himself off it, straight into the beast's chest. His shoulder crashed into a weakened panel, still damaged from the earlier sabotage. He drove into it like a battering ram. Cracks spiderwebbed across the plate. The beast roared, arms reaching to rip him apart. But Rourke was already moving again, climbing the body, hanging onto jagged armor with bloodied hands and torn fingernails. Each breath he took was a miracle, each movement a rebellion against reason. He reached the upper back, the core interface housing, still pulsing, still vulnerable. This time, there would be no shock drone, no clever trick, just raw strength. He wrapped both hands around a curved conduit that surged with plasma flow, braced his feet, and pulled. The pain hit instantly, white-hot, blinding. The plasma coursed in his arms, searing flesh, boiling nerves. The nanites in his bloodstream screamed to compensate, to repair, but they couldn't keep up. He gritted his teeth and kept pulling. "Come on," he snarled. "Break, you bastard." The beast thrashed, trying to shake him off. It slammed its back against a building, sending shockwaves through Elias' spine. He held on, ribs cracking again. You don't get to win. And then, the conduit snapped. The surge that followed exploded through the beast's neural matrix. Its limbs jerked wildly. Its balance failed. The plasma vents misfired, rupturing key internal pathways. The AI stuttered. And then, silence. The beast collapsed, knees hitting the earth like falling mountains. Its massive body slammed into the scorched dirt, shaking the ground so violently that dust clouds rose for kilometers. Elias Rourke rolled off its back as it fell, landing hard flat on his back. He didn't move. Couldn't. His vision blurred. His ears rang. The world slowed. A soft voice crackled in his calms. "Rourke, do you copy?" "Kale." He coughed, blood bubbling at the edge of his lips. "Yeah," he rasped, still breathing. "Somehow. Status." He glanced at the smoldering ruin of the beast. Its eyes were dark, limbs twitching, dying, broken. A pause. "Do you mean you? Or it?" she asked quietly. "Both." Later, they found him slumped against the fallen machine, eyes half closed, body covered in second-degree burns, fractures, and deep lacerations. He wasn't supposed to be alive. Medics stabilized him. Engineers confirmed the impossible. KRZUL's neural matrix had been physically severed, ripped apart by a man's hands. The war wasn't over, but something had changed. The beast, designed to end armies, had been ended by a single human. The story spread like wildfire. They called it a miracle. They called it madness. But to the soldiers who had seen it with their own eyes, it was something more. Proof. Proof that no matter how perfect the weapon, no matter how advanced the monster, human will was stronger. Weeks later, in a medical bay orbiting the scorched planet, Elias lay on a recovery bed, surrounded by silence and machinery. Kale entered, datapad in hand. "You've become a symbol," she said. He didn't look up. "That's dangerous." "Yes, but useful," she replied. "What happens to me now?" Kale looked at him, eyes unreadable. "That depends," she said. "Are you a man who broke a machine, or a machine who refuses to break?" Elias gave a faint, painful grin. "Why not both?"